Lately, I've been struggling a lot with simply throwing in the towel whenever I feel like I cannot take things anymore. And if you're someone who struggles with giving up more than they should, please watch this video to the entire end of it, and I promise you it can give you some motivation and things to help you not give up as much. I'm a middle child of 3 boys, and I've always felt ever since I was a little boy that I always felt like I had to fight for the attention of others. And this mainly comes from the fact that my younger brother was always the smallest and the baby of the family. My older brother was the oldest, and he was, the pride and joy, and the cliches often say that the middle child just kind of happened. It wasn't really planned, and that's how things goes. And for me, I kind of took that stereotype a little too literally. I always saw my brother getting babied and him giving things whenever I felt like he really shouldn't have them, and I always saw him cry, and simply I just couldn't put up with it. My older brother always had more opportunities than me. He always was the oldest, so he had the most attention on him in terms of authority and order, and I was simply there. I was simply someone that people kind of thought of as the other brother. But I kind of didn't like that. So what I did growing up is I always tried to fight for my brothers to be lower than me. And that came in the forms of me doing different sports. I often did many different sports until I landed on a single sport, and I would focus on that one and try my absolute best to be the best I could be to get the attention of my family members and the people around me. Me being a middle child really flowed into the actual personality I have now and the personality I had then. I always fought for attention, and I never gave up, simply because I knew that my little brother wasn't going anywhere and my older brother wasn't going anywhere, and I'm always going to be the middle child. So I always had to fight for the attention of my family members, and that in turn affected how I fought for the attention of other people, my friends, people in school, whatever it may be. I always fought for things and I never gave up. And my why at that moment was simply because I wanted to be better than my brothers. And I wanted to show that even though I'm the middle child, I'm the important one. I can be better than the youngest, I can be better than the oldest. And I had a distinctive why. What I'm getting to is that what caused me not to give up almost ever was simply that I had a why. My why when I was younger was my little brother and my older brother. And as I got older and more mature, I realized that didn't really matter as much, and I became more of a person. And being the middle child doesn't really matter as much when you get older. So that why kind of dissipated. So I needed to find another why. And my why was simply doing sports in high school to maybe get to college. See, I really fought for attention of others up until high school. In high school, I realized it didn't really matter as much. So I had the idea of doing college track and field. And what I did is that I always trained my absolute hardest, and I never gave up, simply because the idea of college was always there. During my 4 years of high school, college was my why. I always had to practice discipline, eat healthy. I always had to train my hardest and never give up because I wanted to do my sport in college. And I know that peer pressure came, so I always knew I had to be disciplined. I need to practice my discipline and get used to eating healthy, being disciplined and making the right choices, getting closer to God. Whatever it may be, I was preparing myself for when college came. And I never gave up, and I always tried my hardest because I never knew what college was going to throw at me. So I never gave up. I always tried my hardest, and that was my why during my 4 years of high school. And now that I'm in college, I kind of find that I'm throwing in the towel a bit more. See, my freshman year I did track, and I was always running my hardest for the first couple of months, but then people noticed and they told me to slow it down a bit because I was trying a bit harder. And I saw how in high school I was a hot shot. I was just the best on my team in track and field, and I simply just took pride in that. I was humble. I didn't really boast about anything. I was being a sportsman person. I was practicing sportsmanship and being a nice guy. But I got to college and I saw some people simply did not have to try that hard, and they got the results that I trained my entire life for. So this took my entire mold of thinking that I have to try for these things that I want and flipped it upside down. I was seeing these people that were born into these families, these foreign people that were my teammates, that simply didn't have to try as hard, and they simply got the things I wanted while not trying as hard. And it messed with my brain, and it made me think I've been thinking wrong my entire life. And this really trickled into how I performed both in track and in school. I started to perform less better. I didn't perform as good simply because I saw people not trying their hardest and getting the results that I wanted. So I tried to do the same thing, but also try hard and try to be in the middle ground, and it simply didn't work out. See, the only reason I got to college and got to a really nice college, I'm on a really great track and field team, is simply because I tried my absolute hardest. I loved it. I was always smiling. I never complained. I was a great little kid who simply wanted the best for himself and wanted to prove himself to his parents and whoever it may be. And that's what got me to where I am now. But now I'm seeing that I'm not acting like I used to, and it's in turn making me perform better or not perform as good in the classroom and on the track. And what I'm noticing is that I really don't have a why anymore. And lately, I've been performing a lot better. I've been performing a lot better because I'm starting to see that I need a purpose behind what I'm doing. And I'm always going to give up if I don't have things pushing me forward. See, ever since I was little, I always challenged myself. I always continued to do things that was extremely challenging simply because I wanted to not only prove myself to the people around me, but prove myself to myself. I remember vividly I was in the 4th grade and I ran a mile race that was so hard. Now it wouldn't be as hard, but back then I was so young, it hurt so bad. And I simply finished, and I remember people yelling my name and rooting for me and all these other things. And I realized that pushed me forward. And even in practice now, I'll sometimes give up and feel like throwing in the towel, and my coach can simply say a verbal cue. Lately, he's been saying that I need to be a man of my word. I was in practice a couple days ago, and I was doing a workout that hurt so bad. We were doing like 8 reps of a workout, and I was on my 7th rep, and he wanted to take me down. He said, "You don't have to run with the group. I can time you." I said, No, coach. I'm running with the group. I'm not going to, be a wuss. I'm not going to back out of this. He said, "Okay, be a man of your word." And something about him saying that simply sparked something in me, and I tried harder than I had in every other rep. Rep 1 through 7, I didn't try as hard, but rep 8 was the hardest, and I simply just ran as hard as I could. And it's simply because my coach said a cue that sparked something within me. And I realized that that was my why at that moment. Why am I trying my hardest? Why am I simply making this rep better than all my other ones? It's because my coach said, "Be a man of your word." Sometimes you need even the smallest things to be your whys, but you need something. Also, lately I've been feeling that I have an obligation to be better in my studies, better in my track and field career, because I have a girlfriend now, and I want to show that I can be the best person I can be for her. But before that, I was simply drifting. I wasn't doing things to the best of my ability because I didn't have a why. I was coasting. I was floating around. I wasn't performing the best. I was getting injured, and I wasn't trying my hardest like I've done so many years in the past. And I've come to the conclusion that I can't look at other people and simply say, I need to do what they're doing, and maybe that's going to benefit me. Simply put, you cannot be someone else. You have to be who you've always been, but you can always be better at what you've always done. Simply for me, I've always tried my hardest, but I've continued to adapt and learn from different situations, but I'm continually trying my hardest. If I try to be someone else, if I try to run like someone else and perform like someone else on the track or the classroom, I'm always going to come up short because I'm my own individual person. God made me unique, and who I am, He made my personality, and I've had so many years up until college where I'm simply being my best. I'm trying hard. I'm getting results. I'm being a person that people want to be around. People respect. I'm always happy. I'm positive. And simply I get to college and I see people doing it differently and getting success, and it simply makes me think that I'm doing it all wrong. I've always done it all wrong, and that's simply not the case. I never need to give up because now I know that I have a why. And whenever I feel like I'm getting up, I need to remember a why. Whether that be my girlfriend, whether that be my coach telling me I need to be a man of my word, whether the fact that my teammates are always going to push past me and they're always wanting the best for me. I need a why. If I'm going to go into a workout or anything, to a test or anything, and I'd simply say I'm just going to do it to get it over with, that's not going to get me the results I want. I have to say, I want to do this because I want to prove it to myself. I want to prove it to the people around me. I want to prove it to whatever thing I want to prove it to. I've done that for so long. So never, ever give up, and never try to be someone else and try to imitate someone else entirely, because you're your own unique person. One why that I've always consistently thought of, but it's always been a little bit, but lately I've been thinking about it more and more, is how Jesus never gave up. Think about Jesus when he was carrying that cross on his back, and he was getting beaten, and he was going up that mountain or that hill to Calvary, and he kept going. He kept walking. He kept pushing forward. He didn't try to imitate anyone else. He understood that he was who he was in that moment. And what he had to do in that moment was simply carry that cross, bear our sins, and simply pay the price for us. And I know that Jesus lived a life that is so amazing. It's perfect. It's a life that I want to try my best to imitate as much as I can. And when I think about how Jesus never gave up, how Jesus never threw in the towel, Jesus always had a why, and his why was us. Why can't Jesus be a why for us in the same way? Jesus thought about us every step he took with that cross on his back, every beating he took, every piece of flesh they knocked off his body, every blood, sweat, and tear drop that he dropped off his body. He thought of us. And we can think about Jesus whenever we think about giving up, and understood that he never gave up on us. He's always with us, and he's continuing to push forward. He pushed forward then, and he wants you to push forward now. So always continue to push forward. Remember your why. Whatever it may be, you need a why. You need a purpose. That's going to keep you disciplined. It's going to keep you working hard. For me in high school, I was preparing myself into the person I was going to be in college. Prepare yourself for the person you're going to be tomorrow, a year from then, a person after college, a person that is honoring God. Prepare yourself for the man you want to be for your wife. And that's how I feel about me and my girlfriend. I feel a sense of purpose in the fact that I want to try my best in the classroom, on the track, discipline in the way that I eat. I want to have a healthy lifestyle because I want to be the best husband or partner for her one day, or maybe my kids. You're always going to get whys that come up, and I want you to think about those every single time you think about throwing in a towel and giving up. I've been giving up way too much lately, and I've wanted to make a video to motivate someone, to show them that you're not alone in the fact that you want to give up with the things that you've done for so long, or the things that seem so hard. Because I promise, the thing that you think is so hard and you're doing, it's not as hard as life Jesus had to live, and the burden he had to carry, which was our sins and the cross. Please never give up. The thing you're doing and the thing that you think is so hard, it's never going to be as hard as some other things you may face in life. Never think your one individual situation is going to be worse than any other situation you face in your life, or any situation anyone else has faced. You can keep going because Jesus kept going. In the same way that Jesus thought of us and kept pushing forward, keep thinking of him. Never give up. Keep pushing forward. Make your younger self proud. I want to consistently make my younger self proud in the fact that I, up until college, always tried my hardest and prepared myself into the person I was going to be. And now I want to prepare myself to be the person that my younger self wanted. Think of your why. And if this video could be your why, I'm so happy that I was able to share the words and God was able to speak to me, to you. Speak through me to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a blessed day. And remember to never give up and keep pushing forward. Remember your why, and that's going to be why you succeed in life.